I'm Ryan Lynch. This will be my second interview. I'm going to be interviewing Coach Stewart. If you wouldn't mind, will you tell how many years you've taught and all the schools you've been at?
Okay, well, I started at Parkin, Arkansas, where I was a high school football coach, junior high football coach, junior high and high school track coach, and ran the concession stand. That was for 1 year. And then I was at England, Arkansas for 2 years. Again, high school, junior high, 7th grade football coach. Again, helped with the track program at all levels. And I didn't have to work the concession stand all the time, but occasionally. The last 26 years, I was at Searcy, high school football coach, track coach for many of those years, the tennis head coach, the bowling head coach, the golf head coach. So quite a long time there. We're doing a lot of things. No concession stand responsibilities.
And so what has been your biggest accomplishment out of all those sports you've coached? Like which team or what group has been your...
Well, when I think of football, probably the best team at Searcy was 20-something years ago. Had back-to-back really good years. 1 year we were 11-1, an undefeated regular season, but really the team ahead of them, I've always thought was a better team, and we were 7-3 and missed the playoffs. At England, my second year there, we made it to the semifinals. We only had 19 kids on the team, eventually losing to the McGee Owls, who went on to win the state championship 3 of the last 4 years.
So you've been at a smaller school and you've been at a larger school. Which one to you was, I guess, better, or did you enjoy more, and why?
Well, my years at the small schools were just those first 3 years. And what you find when you're at a small school is everybody in town knows who you are. Everybody in your church knows who you are. Every child in the school district from elementary school on up through high school, they know you. I mean, and small schools, we only had 4 coaches. 4 coaches in the entire district who did everything. A big school district, I think Searcy now has 30-something coaches, 7th grade through high school. And granted, if you're a football coach at the high school level, people know who you are often just because you're out front on Friday nights. And in a big school, it's the trendy thing to go to the Friday night games. So there they are, and they know who you are. There's good and there's bad to both. If you're at a small school, you do a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff, like you have to mow your own practice field, mow your own game field, line your field, all that. At the bigger schools, they don't want you to do all that, or you've got turf. So as far as enjoying it, of course, I was at Searcy for 26 years, so that was a great experience. It really was.
If you can think back, what made you choose this career?
Well, really, I didn't go to college to become a coach. I just kind of fell into it early on at a small school, Parkin, Arkansas. They needed somebody to help with the football program. My resume that first year out, yes, it mentioned that I played on a high school state championship football team. And my head coach, Bill Reed out of Jacksonville, and the coach, Danny Mallett, who was looking for some help, they kind of knew each other in a roundabout way, and they talked. And he asked me if I'd like to help him. So eventually I did go back and get my coaching certificate, but I just kind of fell into it. Really, it's the classroom that I was going to college for.
So do you think if you were back in college, you think you would end up going the same route?
Definitely. I wish I had started a little sooner, because I actually kind of ran from education. Because, you're not going to make a lot of money, long hours, and at that time, very little pay. I think we calculated at Parkin and at England, I was working for like 50 cents an hour. Now, it's better than that at the bigger schools, and I'm sure it's better than that now at smaller schools. But I've never regretted a single day that I went into education and coaching.
So, over the years, do you tend to have better relationships with your classroom students or your athletes?
Well, for the 20 years that I coached football, definitely a better relationship with football players. You know, you sweat together, you bleed together, you hurt, you freeze. It's just a closer bond. With my other minor sports, you know, tennis and golf and bowling, yes, good relationships, but it's really just not the same. Okay? I've always had a good relationship with my students, but a lot of that is because, hey, it's Coach Stewart. So, you know, that's kind of how that works.
So, have you had athletes come to you outside of the classroom setting, or like do they look up to you, or have you had them come to you outside of school and kind of look up as you as a role model, or have you felt like you've built that in athletes' lives over the years?
Yes. Matter of fact, just last weekend I ran into an ex-athlete from that team that I was telling you it was so good. I probably only bumped into this guy once or twice in the last 25 years and saw him. We had a nice conversation. Honestly, when people tell me they want to go into coaching, it's not that I don't encourage them, but I